everyone, welcome back to Plum Figgy. This is Tammy. Okay, so I thought I would bring you guys along on my new planner for my new journal for my Collage weekly planner that's on Mondays that I do every Monday. So this is actually a cover that I had created quite a long time ago. Basically, I made a masterboard out of scratch papers and then sewed on all the edges of that you could see there, and I turned that into a cover with fabrics, and then I just did a little label there on the middle. And basically my main issue with this cover, well, I have two main issues with this cover. It's not one that I would have ever sold. The cover itself is a little thinner than I would like. I thought I had done a pretty good job of thickening it, but it's just a little bit thinner. And then the main issue that I've had is the width of the cover. It's not quite as wide as I would like it to be. So here I'm deciding to widen the book, the entire contents of the book, following something that Louisa Heinzel actually had done, which I thought was genius. I had never even thought about doing this before, but she basically just turned the front and back pages of the signatures into just wider, thicker pieces of cardstock, and then everything in between there was like normal. So I'm looking through my paper here. This is the Old World stack from Die Cuts with a View, DCWV. It's been around forever and ever. It's a great paper pad. I've had it forever and ever. I don't think I even have the cover of it anymore. But anyway, I was just going through trying to find pages that I thought would look good. That first page that I folded in half, I really liked it, but I didn't really feel like the colors were quite what I wanted to show through from the front side. And then I came across this dark purple one, which I absolutely love the color. I just felt like this was a little too busy for some reason. So here I'm just looking to see how these two papers look next to each other, just trying to think of different variations that I could kind of work with the two pieces. And then of course, I never am satisfied unless I look through everything. Really like this one. I really like this one. But in the end, I decided to keep with the darker purple one instead. I just felt like it was less distracting, the purple. It was really nice and interesting, but at the same time it wasn't like overly distracting for me. So I'll definitely use that other green one somewhere else at some other point in time. But anyway, so at this point I'm just trying to decide how I'm going to go about doing this. And now I'm just going to go ahead and measure and see, and measure and cut to be the right size for the cover. And I decided to cut it straight in half, so it's 6 inches wide, because I had measured my cover, and that was about 3/4 of an inch wider than the cover was. So it was pretty perfect size, actually. And so then at this point I had decided to keep the front of that cardstock the purple, and then when you turn the page, then you'll see the other really pretty one on the other side and stuff. So now I'm just making sure I have everything upright before I glue everything together, because these two pages were a little challenging to see. There were some butterflies on the purple one that really kind of helped me out, so I'm gonna use that. And then this side had some text, so I really didn't want that to be upside down. So anyway, just gluing those two together, and then making sure there's hardly any white spots. And I'm just gonna kind of measure again, sort of, in a way to make sure that that's truly the size that I want before I continue. So now I just took my scissors and I'm roughing up all 4 edges of those because I wanted it to have some texture, and I thought this was a fun way to get that on, the covers. And I haven't really done this in a long time either, so I thought, hey, why not? Let's go ahead and do that and see how it goes. And so obviously I'm not going to keep it white. So here I'm just going to ink around all the edges and try and grunge it up a little bit. I'll be honest, I think I boogered up my felt pad for my ink pad, so that's fine. I probably needed to switch it out again anyway, so just, I guess, beware of that if you're going to try this. If you're using the foam pads, it's really not going to be a good way to do it. You're going to pretty much disintegrate your foam pad on doing that, but that's why I like to use the felt pads that are for the alcohol inks. It works really great for distress stain too, I feel, so why not? And they last longer, I think. So outside of the camera, not being recorded, I had prepped a bunch of packing paper to use as my signature papers. So here I'm just taking half of, well, I just ripped one spread in half, and so at this point now I'm going to glue and sew. Yeah, I'm just trying to find a piece of fabric that I want to use for this, because basically what I'm going to do is now I'm going to take my cardstock that I just finished and attach it to 1/2 of this packing paper that's been doubled up to kind of strengthen it a little bit, and then I'll just glue the fabric on. So basically I'm just tacking the fabric on with some glue right now, and then measuring here to take off the right amount of width so that you don't have a random piece of cardstock in the middle of the book, basically. So this other side, the packing paper side, will be double the thickness of all the other papers in the book, but that's okay. You're never going to really notice that necessarily after I do all the collaging on all the pages anyway. But I felt like this was a great way to kind of disguise the fact that I'm extending the width of the book overall. So I just did a zigzag stitch up and down, and now I'm going to work on the piece that I'm going to sew all my signatures into. And so I'm just sizing that up and trimming that away, or trimming that up to be the right size. And then put the glue away. And then I have this old cutting mat that I really like to use a whole lot more than I like the black one, because it's got all the extra grid lines. I've gotten used to the black one enough that for most things I don't need this other one anymore, but I really do prefer this one, or I have a bigger aqua colored one actually that I really prefer, but it doesn't look as good on camera. So anyway, I wish they would make one of those with the grid lines but in black, so it would look nicer on camera, but whatever. Sometimes you gotta sacrifice looks for functionality, I suppose. It's the same thing with women wearing shoes or clothes that don't feel good or fit right. So, sacrifice for beauty. So anyway, so I'm gonna have, I think, 5 signatures, and so just did all the grid lines for that, and now I'm working on the piece that I'm going to use to poke the holes into the signatures. So I just take a piece of paper, usually this is cardstock, and match up my tops and make a little tick mark for each horizontal line, and then I like to make it into a crosshatch so it's easier to see when I'm actually going to poke the holes. And now I'm looking for a piece of fabric to use for the inside of the spine piece. So just had this piece of fabric here and went ahead and used that. And then this lace is going to become my headbands on my spine. So just measured those to the width of my spine piece here. And now I'm going to glue my cardstock onto my fabric. So this side is what you'll see when you're opening and looking through the book. So all the stuff on the other side of that is always marked up with all kinds of grid lines and things like that. But hey, that's what you gotta do. So and then yeah, just wrapping the headbands over and getting those done. And now I need to poke holes on all the where all the lines meet. And I like to draw a circle around those spaces, those points, because it's easier for me to quickly and visually see where to poke. And then I poke a pre-hole on each of them, and then that way when it's time to actually poke each hole, I don't have to worry about my poker sliding around or missing the spot in any way. So I've found that, yeah, it's an extra little step, but for me it's important to do that. I've just found that it's more helpful. So alright, so now I'm constructing my signatures. So I'm going to have 6 pages per signature, I think, is what I ended up with. And I like to rip on all sides if I can, but especially on the right side, because I like that rough look to my signatures. So I don't know what my problem is here. I'm having a real hard time getting it lined up, I guess, but I'll rip off the right hand bit of paper here, and then this one, for whatever reason, ended up being a little bit too tall, and I think the rest of them were also a little bit taller, but in the end I decided that I didn't want to have to do this for every single signature, so I just left the rest of them the height that they were and went with it. So yeah, this was kind of a pain. It's in fast forward here for you, but in real time it was not as fun. Alright, so now I'm just gonna start making each of my signatures and doing the same thing where I'm lining it up, looking for the width, and then I'm gonna rip off the width. Yeah, I guess I tried to do it again here, and I think it's at this point when I decided it's just not worth it. So, oh, changing the TV. Oh, it's more TV. Okay, so, yep, so I'm just gonna keep doing this, you know, the number of times that I need to get all my signatures done. So, yeah, like I said, I was using packing paper for all my pages, and so I had taken the time before filming to rip them all down to the sizes that you see now, which actually took a bit of time too, and then a lot of them were pretty wrinkled, so I actually did spritz them with just a bit of water too, and put them under some heavy books for a night, and then let them dry without being under the books so that they didn't get gross or anything. So yeah, that's the prep that I did for the pages actually. And then now I found I wanted some twine that would blend in better with the color of the pages since they're all the same color. I remembered that I had some of this wax linen that I bought from AliExpress like forever ago in these different brown colors, so I found one that looked best and went with that and stuff. So now I'm just poking my holes in my signature, I'm gonna very carefully, yeah, it was hard to see where the hole was in that fabric, so there's a little tip, I guess. If you can't find the hole, go from the other direction with your needle and then keep your eye on that spot where your needle comes out, and then obviously go back the other direction the correct way. And that's a trick that I've found for myself that helps a lot of times. Sometimes it's just real hard to see, just depends on the kind of fabric you're using and stuff, but yeah, just making sure my stitches are all nice and snug and knotting it at the bottom there. I cut away all the others, but I did the same thing on all the others. And so now I'm on my last signature, and we have a visitor again. Little Oliver decided to come for a visit. And yeah, he really screwed me up. Because as you will see, I put this last signature in upside down, and I'm going to have to take it out and redo it. So yes, I make mistakes too, guys. A little more often than I'd like, actually, but that's okay. Sometimes for some pets here, kitty cat pets. And then, yep, it's at this point she knew. It's like, dang it, that's not supposed to be there. So cut it out and start over. But at least we get some cute little toe beans to look at while we wait. Got myself a new piece of string, and I'll go ahead and just re-sew that last one in. Yeah, I don't know. Can you tell that he is kicking my hand? A little turd. He's trying to pick a fight with me, and I'm trying to get this done. A little horse kick there. So anyway, okay. So I got that done, and I give in and let him wrestle with me a little bit here, but making sure everything looks good. He's still kicking me. Making sure everything looks good and it's lined up the way that I wanted it to. And sure enough, it is. It's, yeah, got a little kitty cat wrestle here. Okay. Time for kitty cat cuteness. Sorry, I had to do it. It's just for a few seconds though. Okay, so back to the book. I reprinted out this title page from her digital kit that she has that I've used and that I've been using for this entire challenge, and I knew that I wanted that to go on the inside front cover, and actually it fit perfectly width-wise. I don't know how I did that. I increased the size just a little bit. And anyway, so here I'm trying to decide if I want the image to be above or below the fabric for the spine piece, and I decided to go against what I normally do and put it above the fabric. And then I just was trying to decide. The other two pages are some stuff from Antique Papery that I had printed off too, because I thought well, I need something for the back page, but then I realized that maybe I had enough here from the scraps from the first one to go ahead and use that on the back, and sure enough I did. So I went ahead and just ripped those out, and I'm going to paste those down. And fortunately, the width of the fabric piece was perfectly sized to hit right at the left edge of this second piece of paper that I put down. And so I'm going to go ahead and glue my book block in now. And no, I know I didn't show you everything, but again, I learned how to do this from the Nick the Booksmith course, and if you'd like to know how to do that, I highly suggest going and paying, I don't know how much it is, it's probably $10 or $15 for her course. She spent a long time putting that together. It's well worth the money if you ask me. Very thorough. But yeah, she walks you through how to do a hidden spine, or hidden stitch spine. So anyway, so glued my spine, or my book block in, and now I'm just going to glue this front page in on top of the fabric. And actually I'm really glad that I ended up doing it this way. It looks really nice. Nice and clean, actually. So here's a quick look at kind of how it ended up, and then I'm just kind of fraying my cheesecloth type fabric here and kind of grunging it up a little bit. Gonna mess it up a little bit to make it look hopefully a little bit older. I just love the pages of this journal. I mean, seriously, like, I kind of want to do another one like this and make it available on my Etsy shop. So here I'm looking at the spine. I don't know how well you can tell, but it just looked a little bit grungy and dirty. I'm not sure how that happened. Maybe just from sitting, or it could be just whatever was below the fabric. The fabric that I used, that ticking fabric, is awfully thin, so it could just be a shadow of whatever was used below the fabric. So anyway, I'm going to later on, you'll see, I'm going to actually cover that with some more stuff, but here I'm just kind of looking the book over and making sure everything's looking good and the way I'm wanting it, and I'm trying to I'm thinking about, do I want to cover my cardstock pages here, and I'm just kind of thinking about, well, what would I do? Maybe I'll do a collage or something on the back page. And just in general, just seeing how the pages are laying, and thankfully they're laying really flat and they're really easy to turn, and really not having any issues with the pages. So I think this will be a really great journal to use for the rest of the year. I'm hoping. I didn't plan out the number of pages, so again, I'll just kind of see how it goes, and if I end up needing to make another journal at some point for this challenge, I definitely will. But okay, so back to the spine. This is some trim that I had picked up at Hobby Lobby. That's the yellow one was more handy to me. And then I knew I had this other colors of it. So I had this one in green, which I liked a whole lot better, the colors, with, you know, the rest of the book. So I just decided to go with that instead. And two pieces were side by side, were the perfect width to cover that entire spine. And so now I'm just going to glue that down. And that's going to do it for my journal after this is done, guys. So yeah, so hope you enjoyed this. I know I always enjoy watching the process of putting a new journal together, you know, especially when, you know, you're doing a challenge kind of like this one, where you can kind of do whatever you kind of want to do as far as a journal goes. It doesn't need to be a junk journal style. I had considered doing that Traveler's Notebook, using the Traveler's Notebook planner that I had recently converted from a binder, but in the end I just decided, no, I think this will be better. So yeah, here's one final look. At some point I will add the weeks and what this is to the label on the front. But yeah, anyway, there's little Mr. Oliver. All right, guys, I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.